What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Hostile Territory on Dead of Night. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Dead of Night is where we must destroy 151 structures to clear the infestation. Same structures spawn enemies at night that, among other things, hit our base. Enemies gain special abilities and a temporary shield when they get hit. Enemy buildings shoot back.
We have Edwin Home in the call with us today. How are you, Edwin Home?
I'm doing pretty well.
That's awesome. So, how do we rank the commanders this week?
Well, there's one big mutator that you have to worry about, which is power overwhelming, because the little infested guys do, in fact, get power overwhelming. They also get barrier, which is annoying, but, realistically, if power overwhelming wasn't there, it wouldn't be as annoying. But it is a bit of a nasty combo because it makes it all the harder to kill the little infested before they can actually cast spells on you. Obviously, a lot of folks are going to have enough splash damage to just one tap the little infested, so that should be good. But if you're more of a chip damage dealer, then that can be a problem. And then Photon Overload exists as well.
Yes. So for me, yes, power overwhelming is the big one, not just because of the infested, but also the guys in the base will gain energy over time once they start their tick. And then once you get there, if you get there late, they will have full energy. So that's going to be quite annoying. So, yes, about the barrier thing, I did consider it here because when you deal chip damage to the infested and you don't clear them on the first hit, you will take 3 times as much firepower to destroy every single infested. Another thing I considered here is being able to A, clear out very quickly on your own, or B, hold out after night 6, basically indefinitely. Because if you're not able to keep defending, or clear out so quickly that night 3 onwards is irrelevant, then you will have problems, regardless of how strong your mid game is. Let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
Well, Abathur is going to have a little bit of a harder time farming biomass with barrier out there in theory. Obviously, the toxic nest can kill, but also power overwhelming can be an annoyance at minimum. So it's going to be a little bit annoying to get your brutalists up. Once you have your brutalists up, they'll do decently well, and if you can get to a proper setup, you can kind of help out, but you're not going to be doing like a great job. Disabling Cloud, I think power overwhelming can go through, right? Because it's not like actually the units casting the spells in theory.
Yes.
I can't remember for sure. Yeah, I think
They even
so
casted it with time stop.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like it's not actually the units really casting it, it's the mutator, so to speak. So no disabling things actually do anything. And that would be, that's one of Abathur's biggest strengths is disabling cloud, and that kind of gets shut down to an extent here. So that's annoying. That said, I think he'll do fine enough. So I had him in B tier.
Had him in A tier because I think the locusts, when you go second prestige and just go pure swarm host without trying to get ultimate evolutions, yes, they might not have the damage output to destroy the infested in a single hit, but once you get enough of them with enough biomass, you will be able to just stand indefinitely. Even if they storm, they black hole, they seeker missile your locusts, once you get enough biomass on your swarm hosts, you will be able to just tank them anyway, even if they hit you with random spells, specifically your locusts. If you have your swarm hosts standing in the fire, then they'll eventually go down. Make sure that you're setting the locusts, not your actual swarm hosts. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for sure you can skip the ultimate evolutions initially. I'd try to get them eventually because then you can just have the little 6 squad out clearing buildings while you're holding it home, like at night. I think would be, it's 600 minerals or whatever. I guess 600 minerals, 300 gas to get 3 roaches and 3 mutalisks. It's not that big of an investment. And the 600 biomass, but I think it's probably worth it to have them with the deep tunnel and everything just in case. But yeah, I think A tier is probably fine. B tier, A tier, it's not a huge difference.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge difference. I would have been fine with B as well. But hey, you said A is fine, so let's put him in A. Prestige-wise, second one I think is the best one here. Alarak, for me, is, well, he doesn't have an ability to survive past night, let's say 4 on his own. Even night 3 is a little sketchy because you have to defend 4 entrances at once. unless you will count on your ally to actually do stuff, which is kind of a dangerous proposition, if you ask me. And aside from that, he doesn't really have a means to prevent damage from the power overwhelming spells, or just tank the damage and shrug it off by having so many units or so much health. He will eventually get chunked down. That goes as well for his mothership. That's why I had them in D tier. What do you think?
I had him in C. I think, if you have an ally that can defend 2 ramps, then C is kind of equal contribution. And I will say for Night 3, you can basically always get through Night 3 as long as you can defend 3 of the avenues, which I think Alarak can probably do, because even if your ally can't defend the 4th one, they usually live just long enough to have like a refinery left over or something like that when it gets past Night 3, and then they leave the game and then you win by yourself.
Nice.
So I think, he can get through there most of the time. That's been my experience, at least. Like, you can probably rely on your ally to do 1 enough on Night 3. So I think C is probably like, if you can count on your ally, in my mind, C is sort of you're not carrying, but you're pulling your weight. And I think if your ally is pulling their weight, Alarak can pull his own weight.
For me, it's fair enough. I do still have him struggle a little bit to push, because when you get in the bases, the enemy will have spells. Like I said, in the later days, they will have spells to wear down, especially if you go mass destroyer, or if you go ascendants. They will take a while to level up. That will take a while to ascend. And if you go Wrathwalkers, that's kind of single damage, probably not what you want. That being said, if you do go Wrathwalkers, you will not need to worry about barrier on the infested, because your Wrathwalkers will likely one-shot them. I still think they're D, but C is not too much of a jump for me, so I will be okay with C. Prestige wise, 3rd one.
Yeah, probably.
What do you think about the first one? Initially, I think first one.
I was thinking you could do that. Yeah.
I think
because you also get the immortals, and a couple powered up immortals are going to clear the infested, no problem. Even
no,
if
they
I
won't.
can't remember. Do they?
No. Don't say that.
Well, they won't one shot.
The Vanguards
but
suck.
They'll do 4 volleys. Like,
no, they're terrible.
Once you get a fully powered up Vanguard against infested, it's
they
not
miss.
bad. They shoot like
they miss.
But there's so many infested, they just hit the infested behind the ones that they missed. Like, I don't know. I think it's fine.
It's terrible.
If you say so,
I'm okay with C, but not suggestion to go Vanguards.
Oh, I'm not saying mass Vanguard. I'm just saying you make like 2 of those, and then you go. You probably go Wrathwalkers first, and then you add in a couple Vanguards after you have like 2 or 3 powered up Wrathwalkers. I don't know. I think they do decent.
If it's the token Vanguard,
because there's so many infested that even if they shoot at the front ones and miss, they just hit the ones behind them, that's still value.
My only qualm against going for the first prestige is that you don't get the mothership, but otherwise, Alarak isn't really that much effect. Alarak himself, that is, because he will not be able to one-shot the infested anyway with the 3rd prestige. I don't think so, unless he's using Empower Me. But with the first prestige, at least you will be able to power up your Wrathwalker, so they'll be able to shoot faster. That being said, if you go first prestige, you have to be careful not to lose your robo units, because they are quite expensive, not just to build but also to power up. So I still think 3rd prestige is best, but you can go first if you really, really want.
Yeah.
Moving, we agreed on C, yes. Moving on, Arcturus, where do we have him?
Arcturus is quite good. Bunkers are relatively good. Men with flamethrowers are relatively good. ESOs are a quite good way to clear without having to worry about any of the mutators on the clearing side of things, at least. You don't really care if there's... not that you care in the first place, but you don't care about building overcharge, really, especially with ESOs. And then you can kind of just focus on defense at home while being, you're clearing during the night. Just make sure you're retargeting your ESOs regularly. And yeah, I think he's got a pretty good setup. So I had him in S tier.
I had him in A tier, but I'm okay with S tier. And the reason is I did play Arcturus. And we cleared, I think, just before Night 3 got started. Just barely before. And that's my favorite thing to do. Just clear before Night 3. Because I just have that moment where I dangle the bonus ever so closely to my ally, only to deny him at the very last second before Night 3 hits. That's the best. For me, at least. I'm okay with S. I still think he's A, but I'm okay with S just because what I did as Arcturus, I just put my Earth Splitters in different sections of the map, and instead of putting them all in the same control group, I just grouped like 4 to 6 of them at a time and had them constantly retarget. So select one group, target, select the next group, retarget, select the next group, retarget, select the next group, retarget. And the time it takes you to cycle through them, they will have destroyed whatever they were shooting at initially, and then you can freely retarget the next one, and it will just keep re-clearing. I think I had like 5 or 6 groups of these in my run. But that being said, I didn't really properly test his defensive capability because I was mostly letting my ally do the work of defending, and also because, like I said, we didn't really get to night 3. So we didn't really get to see how powerful the enemies are when they start canceling Arcturus's bunkers and throwing distraction webs over them. But I'm okay with S, so let's put him there. Prestige-wise, I think third one still, because you want the cheaper troopers. And you do want the option of just raining down nukes if you really need it against, for example, a stank or a group of enemies that were almost barging through. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Tier. Moving on, Artanis, for me, is another D tier. He does have one thing going for him, and that is offense. He will not be counted on for defense. You can do the staggered Archon dude thing, but it'll throw your macro way off. Even if you queue up all your workers, all your upgrades, you will basically not be producing units. What you can do is go Tempest, and then just float on the edge of the map, and then use Disintegrate to take out the buildings one at a time. It's kind of like a more painful, more expensive airstrike for Hot and Horner, and you don't even get the splash damage. But you will be able to clear eventually if your ally can handle the defense. But I don't think that's equal contribution, because surviving and clearing quickly is the more important detail. If you clear but slowly, I don't think that counts as equal contribution. That's why I have him in D. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's just a little slow. He really suffers from power overwhelming a lot of the time, and he doesn't have, defenses. And, if you can't defend, it's a bit rough. And if you can't clear before night 3, on top of not being able to defend, then now your ally's the one looking at hoping you can clear one lane and die in the night. So not a great spot to be. So I think D's pretty fair.
Okay, Artanis in D. No prestige because D tier is considered bad. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka has the weakness of only having Dehaka until partway through night 1. Realistically, it's hard to get actual units out at the start of night 1, and if Dehaka happens to get comboed by power overwhelming, which will happen a decent amount of the time, then you're in some big trouble. And his leap, if you haven't gotten enough levels to actually one-shot the infested, because I believe you need the level 2 upgrade for that, which you should be able to get, but if you don't have that, then now there's barriered infested, and it's just kind of a mess. So once he gets past that, I think he has basically no problems, because pack leaders and all of his units, Guardians are great, and Mutalisks are great, and Tyrannosaurs are great, and Creeper Hosts you can just send to clear buildings from the middle while you hold with pack leaders and whatnot. But getting there has some issues, so I think you can still do it, but it's definitely not a perfect game, so I had him in A tier.
I initially had him in S tier, but I'm perfectly okay with A tier because I totally can see where you're coming from when having a slightly difficult early game, especially when you factor in the randomness of power overwhelming. You can get a completely tame build with a couple of seeker missiles. Yeah, seeker missiles. You can still dodge or run away from them. You can get point defense drones. You can get distraction webs, which you can just walk out of, and then you can get some pretty nasty ones, like getting abducted into the barriered infested that you can't really destroy because you used your leap already, and they just get angrier. So yeah, I'm okay with A tier. Prestige wise, second one? Still second one, right?
I think second, yeah.
All right. Dehaka in A tier. Oh. Moving on. Fenix for me is actually like Artanis but worse, because he really relies on his champions, and they don't have a snipe from the skirts of the map option like Artanis does. He can hold slightly better, but not that much better that he's a whole tier above Artanis, or even at Artanis' level, in my opinion. I still have him in D, but not higher. What do you think?
Yeah, he's the opposite end of D from Artanis, basically. 'Cause, yeah, I mean, you basically have Caldalis for kind of holding, and if you get any bad RNG on the power overwhelming, then you're out of luck. And if you have to defend more than one lane, then you're kind of out of luck as well. So I think D tier is fair.
All right. No prestige because D tier is considered bad. Han and Horner. Where do we have them?
Well, we're not going far. In fact, we're not going anywhere at all. I had them in D tier as well. I think they might even be worse, but I had them in D tier. Your army's just so squishy, and then your slightly less squishy but still squishy air units are super expensive. So try to get to them. Like the Vikings, in theory, would maybe be what you want, but I don't think they even one-shot the infested. Maybe they do. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think with upgrades they would, but yeah, it's just you don't have enough. You basically everything that they can cast from power overwhelming
So you just suck.
sucks for you. You know, some units it's like, well, if they cast the wrong spells, then it's going to suck for you. It's like if they cast any spells, it's going to suck for you as Han and Horner. So their only saving grace is if your ally can defend perfectly, you can clear the map, right, with bombing platforms, and that's like your win con. But you're just relying on your ally to do that. So I had him in D tier.
I had him in C tier because yes, his thing or their thing is clearing the map, but I do think they can clear the map a lot faster than can Artanis. As for defense, you're right that they don't really contribute much. However, with a salvage, I think they can just tilt the scales ever so slightly in favor of their ally, which will allow their ally to, I think, defend better, depending on what their ally is. But I think it's equal contribution, maybe bottom of C or top of D. I'm leaning toward C though, because I think the speed at which they clear their map means that you won't really get Night 3 level attack waves because they clear it up so quickly. And if you don't get map 3 attack waves, the difficulty of having to defend 2 sides is a lot lower than having to defend 4 sides with Stanks or Nidus. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. C is probably fine. Yeah, it is one of those for solo queue though. It's like you really don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
you're gonna get on your ally,
Oh yeah.
right? So I would not solo queue with them. If you're playing with a friend and they're playing a defensive commander to kind of handle that on specifically working with the fact you're playing Han and Horner, then yes. But I think it's one of those C tiers where it's like it's a very specific equal contribution. It's not I'm helping defend and I'm helping clear. It's like I'm clearing. So if you
I'm
get someone
clearing
who's also
and I'm making you slightly
clearing
more
focus,
efficient.
yeah, then you're dead. So I would not recommend them C tier for solo queue, but certainly if you have an ally who's kind of playing with you, I think that's fair.
All right, C tier it is. Prestige wise, I think first one is still better because the Magmines at least do something, and the top ones
Well,
do something.
You should have the map cleared way before P3 would help, and then P1 the Magmines, yeah, are good. So
And during the day, you can clear with your Helions and your Galleons, so that you don't even need to use exclusively air strikers. What I would actually do is the very front buildings and also the 3 o'clock low ground, those 7 buildings there, and also the 11 o'clock sort of 5 building group between the high ground on the top left and the far north one. Those are just basically use your units to clear undefended structures, and then use the air strikers for the rest. So that's, I think,
we need a
easier for
little
me.
pop-up of a clock with hands pointing at all of those different hours you just said.
If you can't read an analog
Trying to
clock,
keep up.
actually, yeah, you guys should be able to read. If you guys still watch my
not that people
videos,
can't read it. It would just be funny, It's like it's
I
11
would
o'clock,
think
6
that
o'clock, 5
actually,
o'clock, 3 o'clock,
guys,
2 o'clock.
do comment down below if you know how to read analog clocks. I'm actually curious if it's a Gen Z thing to not be able to read analog because they grew up with their phones as their clocks. I know these days I use my phone as a clock, but right in front of my kitchen, there's an analog clock that I use for cooking, and I just measure time using that clock, and it's analog. It doesn't even have a second hand, just the minute hand. So guys, comment down below if you know how to read analog clocks or not. It's actually interesting. And I wonder if my demographic is the sort of digital clock type or the analog clock type, Anyway, moving on. Karax, S tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. My only concern was like the clearing. Like if you're
Solar
going
Lance.
defense,
What do you mean? It's not about
that's
Solar
true.
Lance.
Yeah, and I guess you can kind of just hold. I had him in A, but I think I'm fine with S. I think I was kind of debating between the two, so
It's
yeah,
not
I
even
think
a
S tier
debate.
is fine. Cannons at home and Solar Lance
Get the fire upgrade for a Solar
not at home.
Lance, and then you'll just one shot a dozen buildings at a time if you know how to target properly. Just make sure you
Yeah,
get the
and
fire
use
upgrade.
observers. Make sure to get the vision guys if that wasn't clear.
Correct. Use
So yeah,
observers
I think that's fine.
and just clear buildings. S tier for Karax. Prestige wise, third one, because you do want the Spear of Adun, so you can keep using your top bars to your heart's content. Moving on, Kerrigan. Where do we have him?
Kerrigan, I had in B tier. She's kind of like a worse Dehaka in that, you are fully reliant on Kerrigan in the early game, and if you get comboed, you're dead unless your ally can handle it for you. But even worse than Dehaka, because at least Dehaka can feed some drones and get Dehaka back. You have to wait the full timer for Kerrigan, so not great there. Beyond that, once she gets set up, she'll be able to do some decent work. She's got good clearing. She's got lurkers on the defense, which are solid enough. And she's got Omega Worms for tanking, or you could go P1 in theory here and just have these super fast shooting lurkers. So I think B tier.
Same. I used B tier. In my game where I played as Kerrigan, I did not make a single lurker. I actually just spammed Dude Lords. I went for Gas Cost Mastery and Expedious Evolutions, and I just spammed Dude Lords. My theory is that when you throw Dudelings at enemy, the enemy will use their spells on the Dudelings instead of on the Dude Lords. It didn't work out 100%, but I managed to avoid the bulk of the nasty stuff on my Dude Lords. It did get stormed once or twice, but not frequently enough that I would lose them. In fact, I didn't lose. No, I lost 4. I lost 4 out of 21 Dude Lords. Or was it 44? I made a lot of Dude Lords and I lost very few, something like that. Yes, I think it's very. I had fun. You might have fun. I don't know about strong, but I had fun. So that's B tier for me. So prestige wise, I use third one. What do you think?
Yeah, third one's fine. Just, again, keep in
And fun.
mind the crushing grip does not prevent the spells. So
Yes, it is crushingly
don't
fun
think
though.
that's going to save you. Yeah, but I think that'd be good. And
Yeah.
yeah, extra gas for the Broodlords. I think Broodlords is fair enough. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Nova for me is S tier. What do you think? I'm not even explaining
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, if
Come
it
on, it's
wasn't
Nova.
obvious, P3 Nova with defense at home, Nova clearing the map, you can clear by, the start of night 3 pretty easily, completely by yourself. So, yeah, S tier.
In case it wasn't obvious, yes, S tier. But for your defense, you want siege tanks and liberators. You can also get Ravens if you can afford them. So S tier for Nova. Third prestige. Not a question. Raynor, where do you have him?
Raynor is, the worst of the Terrans, I'd say, probably. He's got repair, like most Terrans, and so that can be helpful with the bunkers and things, but bunkers can get shut down. His clearing's not that great. So I think he'll do He'll be fine. I think he's a little bit better than the D tiers, so I had him in C.
I had him in B tier because his bunkers with siege tanks can hold a whole lot better than a Han and Horner can. And yeah, his battlecruisers are slow, but I think just the fact that he can defend so well will allow him to complement an offensive commander and help clear, in fact, because he does have those top bars. But I'm also okay with C. It's not a strong B for me. So yeah, if you want C, let's go with C. Prestige wise, third one. I think even no prestige is fine for Raynor because it's the strength of siege tanks that you're really counting on. Although you can go a bit more offensively oriented. I'm just wary of losing battlecruisers because of the spells, That's why I'm not so
Yeah.
quick to recommend the third one. I think no prestige is fine. Just not the first one. You need the mules to fund your
Yeah.
infrastructure. So C tier for Raynor. And no prestige. Moving on, Stetboy is, I think, a soft S for me. Could be A. I'm okay with A, but I think I'll put him in S for now because I do like the fact that the green zone just keep your troops healed. So even when you get stormed or get hit in the face with a psionic orb or that sort of stuff, or irradiated, you can live through it a little bit, especially if you have the overcharge. And then you can also just throw more stuff at the enemy by having your Zerglings or Ultralisks or even Infestors will also work here. And if you want, you can still go Dude Lords if you really want. That's an S tier for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. Your Zerglings, yeah, are gonna suffer a little bit from the AoE stuff, but as long as you keep him in the green zone, it should be fine. And he clears pretty darn fast. Just make sure to make liberal use of your stat field that Stetboy can generate to get around. Because if you're
Gary
just
Zone.
waiting for your Statalites, it's gonna take way longer. You don't want to. You don't want to be actually putting Statalites all around the entire map. Do use them, but yeah, use the Gary zone. So I think he's S tier.
All right, unanimous S tier. Second prestige. Moving on, Stukov. What do you have him?
Stukov's solid. Once he gets set up, obviously with P3, then you don't care too much about power overwhelming. Defending multiple lanes can be a pain with P3, obviously, but you can also throw in siege tanks in there, and that'll help out quite a bit as well, as long as they're behind infested and not getting spelled, which you should be able to do. I think he'll do pretty well. His top bars are quite handy in the early game as well, so I had him into A tier.
A tier. That almost rhymed, actually. You said extra lanes are a pain. You could have said it as extra lane? That's a pain. Quite insane. Hey, that rhymes. Anyway,
That's true.
I had him in B tier. I'm not sure if I will put him in A tier because of the guys in A tier are Dehaka and Abathur. Do you have a more compelling case to put Stukov a whole tier above Kerrigan?
His top bars are very, very good, and I don't know. It's like broodlords. If they might not die, but they're more likely to die than bunkers are. And I don't know. I know you don't like box clicking infested around, but I've never had much issue doing that to split them up if I need to defend multiple lanes. And siege tanks are pretty good, but I mean, I'm fine with B tier if you want to do B tier.
Yeah, I'm leaning more toward B tier than A, just because I don't like that the infested time out before they reach the furthest corners. Then again, I guess you can just let your siege tanks go on offense, and that's also fine. Just wary that
And top bars.
and top bars, yeah. I don't know, maybe top of B tier or bottom. I guess we'll see later on where the rest of them pan out, but we can put them B tier for now and then check later. Swann S tier because he has static defense and laser drill top bars. You can clear a lot with your laser drill if you know where to place your concentrated beam and pulse cannon. Even if you don't, just constantly use them and defend, you will win eventually. S tier for me. What do you think?
Yeah, wraiths are pretty darn good for just sniping buildings, fly around the edges, don't fight units. You do have a chance of getting black holed or whatever, but should be fine. So yeah, I think S tier.
All right. I would recommend more just defending with turrets and tanks, but if you want to go wraiths, I wouldn't be against that also. I think wraiths are also good.
Oh well, yeah, you make turrets and then you just make like a pack of wraiths, like 10,
Yeah.
20 maybe. And you can snipe the buildings pretty easily.
I would just float factories and then use the laser drill, but yeah, wraiths are also quite effective. So yeah, S tier for Swann.
I just tend to
Sec
get to a point
prestige.
where I'm like, I don't think I need more turrets. So if you hit that point, you may as well make some wraiths and
Oh,
go clear the map.
I was talking about tanks, but yeah, sure, wraiths. So second prestige.
Yeah.
All
I think
right.
So
Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus has an issue with just getting shut down with outlaws, especially in the early game. Now on this map, he does have Blaze, which helps because as long as you just light one of them on fire, everything's gonna burn on the defense. So that kind of helps shore up his general weakness he has against power overwhelming. And your Tychus Shredder Grenade obviously is just going to insta-kill the infested, so you don't have to worry about barrier against them most of the time. So I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's perfect, though, because, again, you can get comboed, and you have 5 combat units at most, and for most of the game, you're going to have 2 or 3. So I think A tier is pretty reasonable.
I actually had him in B tier because he will have trouble defending Knight 3 onwards, especially against Power Overwhelming. Have you played this as Tychus?
Not this time around. Wouldn't it just be you don't get to Night 3? I mean, you just split the outlaws up and clear.
The spells are, I don't know. I'm a bit iffy on putting him in A tier. If you're really confident, I will.
I'm
put
good
him
with
in A
B.
tier.
It's been a while, like I said, so I'm good with B. I typically put him in like a B tier with Power Overwhelming, but the Blaze thing does kind of
It is really good.
help.
But what?
Yeah, if he can't clear by Night 3, it could become an issue because Blaze, obviously, you don't have 4 of him, so.
Yeah, if you had 4 of Blaze, oh my Donnie. He would.
But A tier
would
isn't
play.
doing it completely by yourself. A tier is assuming some help from your ally, so. Surely if you had an ally helping to clear, because you should be able to handle the first 2 nights of defense completely solo, basically. Just Tychus at 1, Blaze at another, and then Sirius when you have him is out clearing the map, at night, and then your ally can be out clearing during the day. I don't know. I think you could probably, with most allies, clear by Night 3 pretty reasonably.
So what? We're
I
putting
guess what I'd say is, do you think you could clear 80% of the infested buildings by Night 3 with Tychus?
I can.
Exactly. So it's can you rely on your ally to clear 20% of the buildings by Night 3? Then that's maybe A tier, but I'm fine with B. Well, but again, S tier is the I'm doing it all myself. A tier is assuming some help. So
I guess.
But I'm good with B.
All right,
That's
if you
fine
go
by
with
me.
B, then actually, we can. I think one of Stukov or Tychus is getting promoted. I think one of them is getting
Probably.
promoted. Anyway, second prestige still. There is no reason not to go for second prestige. Unless you really want the Odin for extra defense, but I don't think it's worth it. Especially since
There's actually 4 reasons to go for second prestige, which is the bottom lane, the top lane, and the 2 side lanes. So
I don't think he's even strong enough. But anyway, Vorazun for me is C tier. Now, if you watched the previous video or the previous tier list of this, Tutu gave a specific approach to this. Specifically, use Cloak Wall, defend your side only, put cannons so that they block hunterlings. You use time stop to clear, and then you basically survive until you use time stop enough times. Oh, and also you use Corsairs to intercept attack waves. I am not going to recommend A tier for Vorazun. A tier is where T2 had him last time, and we settled on B because Stixbender had him in D. But I'm more leaning towards Stixbender's assessment than I am towards Tutu. That said, I don't think he's B bad because Time Stop and her Black Hole are so good. So I'm putting them in C tier because I think they do contribute equally, especially if you use Time Stop enough times that you do clear the map. What do you think?
if you told me there was a tier list where Tutu and Stixbender were arguing about Vorazun and one of them had her in A and the other one had her in D, I would have gotten that wrong 99 times out of 100 on which was which. So,
That's
anyways, yeah, I think C tier. Yeah, I had her in C tier as well, so I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. Again, if you know Tutu's build, then that will raise Vorazun a lot higher for you if you know what Tutu does. If you don't, like 99% of people, then I think C tier is closer to where she is. C tier for
If Vorazun's
Vorazun.
A for you, you probably didn't need us to tell you that,
That's true.
Thing, so.
If Vorazun's A tier for you, comment down below why we are such idiots, why we are incompetent at our jobs, and why you would be so much better for this tier list than we are. And I will probably include you because I hate my guests not being available when I need them. My Donnie, if you think you can do these tier lists, I'm not kidding. If you think you can do these tier lists, please message me. I need guests for these things to be available because availability is the best ability. She has 1 prestige, the 3rd one. Moving on, Zagara. Where do you have him?
Well, not very high up. Zagara, not great at defending on this map in the first place. You got bio launchers, so that's helpful. But bio launchers, notably cannot move, so they can't help you on the offense really. So you're spending a good amount of your money and investment into defense only. Zerglings are good for clearing the map in general, but they're going to get power overwhelminged and stormed and psionic orbed and die. So that's not very good. So I had her in D tier.
I had Vorazun also in D tier for exactly the same reasons. I think she was E tier in the previous tier list, but I don't think she's that bad. Especially if you can get an ally who defends, then your offensive power will sort of make up for it, because Zagara's offense, when you get upgrades, is quite terrifying, as long as she doesn't have to spend a single mineral or gas on defense. And unfortunately, that it does include bio launchers. So D tier, I think it is. No prestige, because D tier is considered bad. Zeratul for me is S tier because cannons are, get this, good. What do you think?
Yeah, I had him in A just because getting to the cannons can kind of be a pain if you have no help from your ally. I think Zeratul, obviously, in theory, can handle it, but then there's the whole getting comboed, and then you have 2 cannons behind him, and that might not be enough, especially with barriered infested. Obviously, you want to trap the artifact. I think I'm fine with S tier, but yeah, I had him in A originally.
Okay, looks like we are indeed promoting someone from B tier, but Artanis does go to, or rather, Zeratul does go to S tier. So who do you prefer promoting it to A tier, Tychus or Stukov?
I think Stukov's a little bit more resilient to getting comboed, right? Like if you get
Yeah, he
a
has
couple
more
bad
stuff.
combos in the early game as Tychus, it's bad. So
Quite.
yeah, probably Stukov above Tychus.
Yeah, alright. Okay, do we have a double S? A lot of guys in S. I think the most likely one is Nova,
Eh,
if we're going to have a
yeah, I mean
double
you're
S.
kind of just doing what you normally do. You're just walking around the map as Nova.
That being said,
Can't
I
she get
think
though? You can get like targeted even when you're permacloaked, can't you?
you can get
With the power
spelled.
overwhelming, you can get like yoinked and whatnot. So that could
Yes.
be a little more annoying
But
than
it
the
doesn't
typical
happen very
mutation. So
frequently.
it doesn't. But that would be the only way that it really plays much differently. Other than that, you're just defending at home and novaing out on the map. I think it's probably not double S, just because things can go a little south
Alright,
sometimes.
so top of S then. Then Arcturus or Karax?
Yeah, I think probably Karax over Arcturus. Repair beam cannot get power overwhelming like repairing soldiers can. So
Neither can your Spear Balloon. That being said,
well, yes, exactly.
your Earth
Yeah.
Splitters are usually far back enough that they don't get power overwhelming unless you are a donut
Yes.
like me and build them on the ledge, and the infested drop a point defense drone that gives them vision to storm my 8 workers who are building the Earth Splitter, and they all die. But hey, that doesn't really happen, right? It only happens.
Correct.
It only happens to me because, of course, it only happens to me. Oh my Donnie. So, actually, this is Swann better than Arcturus? No.
I think Arcturus has better clearing than Swann and worse defense. So it's kind of an either or. I think they're right next to each other though. And then I think Stetmann above Zeratul.
All right. Actually, now that I look at it, do we demote Zeratul to A tier? You did talk about putting him in A tier.
That's where I had him originally, just because again, he's got a vulnerability in the early game that these other 5 just don't have, in my opinion.
I would use
If
shield guards.
Zeratul gets comboed down, then it can be a little rough.
I would use shield guards on night 1 just because they are more gas heavy, so I can focus more my minerals on, or so I can spend my gas because I'm using my minerals on cannons. So I will get a couple of sentries to support Zeratul in the first night, so it doesn't specifically get comboed down. But I also like the demote dude.
I mean, if Zeratul gets comboed, I mean, I feel like his sentries are just gonna get comboed even harder than Zeratul is.
That's
Like they've got a
fair.
lot more. Like they don't have a lot of health, but they can heal each other. But then that early in the game, you don't have like the energy regen buffs from the artifacts and whatnot. You know,
So you think we demote him to A?
it's up to you. I mean, I'm okay with S, but I did have him in A.
Well, I guess he's not moving then. Who's top of A?
Top of
Dehaka?
A would be Dehaka, I think.
Yeah, I have an
Yeah, and
S.
then
And
and then I
Abathur
think
and
Abathur's
Stukov.
probably yeah.
For B,
hmm
Tychus over
I think
Kerrigan.
it's Tychus. Yeah, 100%. Well,
Yeah, he
he
was
was the
almost A
debate for
tier.
A.
I,
So
I was really apprehensive at putting him in A because the chonkers hit him so hard. He just gets shut down
yeah,
unless you
that's
have
true.
the
Yeah, yeah.
serious turrets already in place. Even if they might not survive, if they get also face shifted, aka cancelled, like the hybrid thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, if you get
then
chokers first night, that's rough for sure. C tier, I think would probably be Vorazun out of respect for Tutu's strategy. And then
huh?
probably Alarak or Raynor would be
Think.
second for me. Definitely Han and Horner's at the bottom, I'd say.
All right, and then D tier. Yeah, I think this is correctly ordered.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea of what else to do, please leave that in a comment. I will see you guys next time.